So, interesting thing was said this morning at church. I'm kind of stuck on it. It's really making me think. And I just stopped by a neighbor's house and we chatted for a minute while he's out there working on his driveway. And I had to kind of voice what it was so I can hear it out loud again and chew on it some more. But I call it's then what? And so we're studying the book of Ecclesiastes and kind of pulling the string, the thread through the whole Bible, and where Jesus shows up in every book of the Bible. And Ecclesiastes is about Solomon and basically how he's got everything. He's got everything he wants, everything he ever needed. He's riches, all these stuff. It's King Solomon. And his attitude is, he starts, he says meaningless. Everything's meaningless. Because once you got everything you want, it's hard to want anything anymore. And so he gives this example of then what. So he's like, if you're talking to, say, a 15-year-old boy, and it's my son, right? And Colton's 15, and if I said, hey, what are your plans for the next couple years? And he says, I don't know, finish high school, maybe get a job, get my first vehicle. And I said, all right, cool. Then what? I don't know, go to college, I guess, or join the military, or, I guess I'll figure that out. All right, cool. Let's say you go to college, and then you do your 4 years of college. Yeah. Then what? I don't know, get a job and, make six figures and have a career and do all that stuff. Sweet. Then what? I don't know, then get married, have some kids, and, start a family and grow older and get some grandkids, do that whole deal. I said, all right, then what? Then I retire, play golf, just do whatever. Cool. Then what? I don't know. Then I die, I guess. And when he said that, I thought, man, he just spoke my life. Retire, play golf, all that stuff. And then what? And I thought to myself, I'm about out of then whats. I mean, I don't want death to be my next then what. And I had a conversation the other day with another buddy, and, he was a cop and did all these stuff and whatever. And, I used to think I'd be dead by the time I was 35, no later than 40. And here I am at 50 and surpassed that. And then, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of dying. I know where I'm going. I mean, I guess I probably fear a little bit of painful death. I don't want to get eaten by a shark or something, but I'm not afraid of dying, 'cause I know where I'm going. But, Matt and I were talking the other day, and he said, I've been thinking, and I think I want to be an old man. I think I want to live into my 80s or 90s or whatever, as long as I'm, not crapping my pants and stuck in a wheelchair, but, still able to do some things, meet my great-grandkids, all that stuff. And I said, man, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've been thinking about that too. And I think the older you get, you tend to start thinking about stuff like this a little bit more. And so with that conversation that Matt and I had about, I'm 50. So, that's 40 years, man. That's, to my 90s. But then I'm running out of then whats. I've done the career and the retirement, and I'm playing golf. So I need to sit down, and I'd like to go back over my eulogy. I did an exercise a few years ago. I wrote my eulogy. I was probably 44, 42 at the time. And I wrote my eulogy as if I died when I was 85. So I wrote everything up that I did up in my life until that time of death. And then I had to vision cast, legacy, what you want to be remembered for, up until I died at 85. So I'd like to relook at that. Looked at it not too long ago, and some things need to be adjusted. But I think that's probably the whole point of this video, is think about your then whats. Like King Solomon, once he had everything, life was meaningless. It's like, what's next? Once you've done everything you ever wanted to do and acquired everything you ever wanted to acquire, or whatever that is, but it's deeper than that, And so this whole Charlie Kirk thing has kind of got me rattled. Most people, the whole world. And it's kind of like, your legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? Well, I want to be remembered for this, that, or the other. Cool. Are you doing that now? Because it's hard to be remembered for something if you never do it. So I've got some soul searching to do, and kind of reflect back on what I want to be remembered for in my legacy, and then from that start adding my then whats, and then start knocking those out. I ain't dead yet because God ain't done. So I'm still here for a reason. There's a purpose. And yeah. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about is my then what's, and what's next, and then what's after that. And then instead of checking stuff off the list, continue to add stuff to the list and keep doing the grind until the switch gets turned off. Charlie Kirk was a good example of that. I mean, even though he was really young, but he was grinding up until his last breath. I mean, literally, you guys know the deal. So that's my word for the day. Then what? Something to think about, something to reflect on. Thanks for the talk, DJ. Later.